Shake, Rattle, and Troll is brought to you by Bill Luke Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman and tournament pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Guess what day it is? Yep, Sunday morning, Shake, Rattle, and Troll. Thanks for joining us today. We're back from ICAST, and wow, 400,000 square feet up there, guys. Nothing but fishing stuff. We'll give you the rundown of best of the show and best in category. Today, JK's in the house.
Good morning, Don.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Special guest, Eddie Corona from Outdoor Experience for All. And you have brought a guest that I'm not even going to try. I'm honored to have this gentleman here. So if you'll do the honors, please, Eddie.
Yeah, we have Jim Sursley. He is Vietnam vet and also the mentor through the Wounded Warrior Outdoors program based out of Florida. And what Wounded Warrior Outdoors does, they take enlisted men and women directly out of the hospital beds and into the field, helping them deal with some of the stuff that's going on with them. And Jim, we met through a lot of hunting shows that we do together, and was so blown away by him that, you know, we had him out as our guest speaker last night at our annual fundraiser, and he rocked the house.
Now, Jim, thank you for coming down. I'm truly honored to have you here. I'm looking at your bio. Are you currently the national commander of the DAV?
No, I'm the past national commander from 2004, 2005.
Nice. Okay. And you're currently involved with the Florida State chapter. Is that correct?
Well, and there's actually only one great big organization called Wounded Warrior Outdoors. It's an all-volunteer program.
Okay.
So it's just myself and Ron Raboud and a couple of other folks from Apopka, Florida. But I'm still extremely active in the Disabled American Veterans, and that is a local chapter in Orlando, Florida.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, anyway, I'm honored to have you here. Guys, as we go through the show today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of everything, a lot of the stuff that Eddie and Jim are doing. Guys putting stuff back into the community and helping folks that actually deserve it. And like I said, we spent a week up at ICAST and 400,000 square feet in the Las Vegas Convention Center. And John, I always go there every year looking for the wow factor.
Did I miss the ticket? Where was I didn't see my pass. I stayed home all week and worked. Did I miss something?
Oh, you were invited.
I missed the invite. That's what it was.
You missed the memo. You missed the meeting. Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, and my point is I didn't see the wow factor this year.
You mentioned that because you called a couple times, and there was nothing that was just striking that was going to put you over the top.
Well, reels. They break it down into freshwater, saltwater, fly fishing. Now the fly fishing guys, and I'm not a real big fly fisherman myself. It's kind of a amusement fishing in my life, and
you put me out in a float tube in the middle of nowhere, I'm a happy camper.
With the fly rod, yeah. Absolutely. But I like things with 250 horse gas pedals.
That's a stunning surprise, Don, coming from you. Since you put the Bill Luke Bass boat in the middle of a teeny tiny lagoon and revved the engines for those kids, nothing surprises me about you anymore.
I was able to spray water from one bank to the next.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah, nice. But I think the biggest thing on the freshwater reels that I noticed there's an evolution of what we're used to is a reel that'll fit in your hand.
Yep.
And now Ardent has a reel that you can close your hand around. Yes. High performance still. I mean, all best of the best. I've been with Ardent for a number of years now, and big advocate of their equipment. But now this one is small. Very, very small. Anyway, we'll have some on the SRT website. We'll have some product videos up there of what we thought was kind of cool. And I'm watching my brother. This is the first time that he's been exposed to ICAST. Now, mind you, there's 400,000 square feet. There's about 43,000 square feet in an acre, so you can kind of get a grip on the size of this place. He makes a pass, and I just let him go. He's wandering around.
Kept wandering.
Ooh, wow. And about 45 minutes later, he comes up and goes, Donnie. I go, what, man? What'd you find? A mouse. A rubber mouse with hooks in it. I go, And he goes, but it's a mouse. It's topwater bait.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Fishing the shallows around the swamps.
Yeah. Yeah, there are certain places, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, mouse is a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, he did a great job up there, and we spent quite a bit of time with TTI Blakemore, Daiichi, Real Magic, Mr. Crappie, and
catfishing.
True Turn hooks. Oh, yeah, catfish. There is some news that we'll make public, in a formal statement on the website. We have petitioned Big Cat Quest, which is a national catfishing tournament series, to come to Arizona. They've agreed. And Mr. Crappie, as well, has agreed to come to our state and put on a crappie derby, a big one. And we have had local crappie derbies and we've got local catfish tournaments. And in fact, talking with Chief Cantrell, the one in April has around 150 boats up on Bartlett.
Bartlett, 150?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's interesting they have that many boats when the Forest Service, again, the town limits it to 60 boats, so I don't know how they do that.
Different kingdoms, different rules.
There is a way around it. If you don't have money exchange hands at the dock, it's not a derby. Just think about that.
Technicality.
Yeah.
That's a very bureaucratic nightmare that you're starting to get into.
Well, yeah, moving along, I don't want to take any shots at the Towner today.
Come on.
That'll happen on Tuesday.
We primed the pump on this sucker.
Oh, yeah, we're not getting on the soapbox. So, Jim, what brings you to Arizona? You just hanging out with Eddie?
I am. Eddie's invitation brought me out for his banquet last night. And
Eddie's a good choice to hang out with. There's usually things that go boom in the night.
Alcohol's involved usually as well. Good food.
Probably lucky my wife let me come because she doesn't know Eddie.
Nice.
You did not tell her you're on the radio today, did you?
What were your tasks at the Outdoor Experience for All banquet last night?
Well, I just had the opportunity to speak and tell a little bit about my story, about my service to our country in the United States Army, and my injuries in Vietnam and my recovery.
Do you mind sharing
Not at all.
some of that
Not
with
at
us?
All. Yeah, I'd be happy to. I mean, I joined the Army shortly out of high school in 1966 out of Rochester, Minnesota, and did about a year and a half in the service, some in Germany, and then I volunteered to go to Vietnam. So in March the 1st of 1968, I landed in Southeast Asia and served for about 10 and a half months with the 196 Light Infantry up in the I-Corps area close to the DMZ. And on January 11th, 1969, I stepped on a landmine that blew off both of my legs and my left arm. So I like to say it kind of ruined my whole day.
Yeah. God love you. Well, yeah, you have a good attitude about it. I guess, you may have a choice about that, either have a bad attitude or a good attitude. What was your recovery period?
I spent about 10 and a half months total in the hospital from the injury to my release from the United States Army. I got out on November 22nd, 1969.
Wow.
I don't know whether I was recovered, but
recovery is always an aspect that you look at.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'm sure Eddie's told you we do a lot with the military and wounded soldiers and what have you. And it's kind of a couple things have happened here in the last few weeks, making me think about our society. We do roll call every week. One of the reasons is the national media doesn't really recognize what's going on in theater anymore. Haven't for a long time. We've been doing it for more than a year. And fortunately, we only have one soldier this week, one too many. But I met a guy up at ICAST, specialist first. Let's see, what was his rank? Specialist first class, retired Austin. And he's going to be a guest on the show. In a similar situation in theater in Iraq, he was in a vehicle that hit an IED, and he spent over 900 days in the hospital and surgeries. And I'm going to say he's back. He's got some short. He looks fine for what he went through, and he's got some short-term memory loss, and he's on a quest like yourself, going around the country helping the disabled veterans and doing some good stuff. But getting back to my point, and I'm not sure, and you can stop me if I get off on a tangent here. We lose a first responder, and we just lost 19 up in the Yarnell fire, and that certainly is a huge tragedy. And anytime a police officer goes down, a firefighter goes down, it's a big deal, and rightly so. The entire country shuts down to honor these guys. We do roll call every week, and nobody gives a damn. We've lost 100, and I think we're up to 146 resident soldiers from Arizona.
And there's nothing said.
No, nobody says anything.
It's just a number that gets passed out on convenient stuff.
And on top of that number, and included in that number, there's been 197 soldiers deployed from Arizona, whether they lived here or not. That number's included, that have died in theater from Arizona. And I don't know whether the country just so dumbed down or the administration, I think, has got a lot to do with it, and DOD with their press releases and the mainstream media. In my opinion, it just sucks because, you guys are truly our first responders. And I'm not taking anything away from the police department, the fire department, sheriffs, and all those guys. I don't want to deal with that. But any thoughts on that?
Well, I think one of the biggest reasons is that less than 1% of the total American population is affected by those serving in either Iraq or Afghanistan. Go back to Vietnam, it was a little more than 5%. Go back to World War II, it was almost 15%.
Huge.
So part of that is just that small percentage of the American public that's actually affected by having someone in the military, or obviously someone that they lost in theater in Iraq or Afghanistan. It doesn't warrant a lot of press. I mean, you and I know it should, but it doesn't to the people that are printing the newspaper or running the television stations.
Well, we're not going to be a part of that, so we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Anyway, we're going to stand down. Thanks to our sponsors that make this possible. I am Don McDowell.
John Colazar.
Eddie Corona.
Jim Sursley.
And Jennifer on the board. Good morning, Jennifer. Doing a great job. We'll be right back. Woohoo! Yeah, man, we're back. Talking with Jim, Eddie, and JK. Patrick's here monkeying around.
He's showing me all the pictures.
On the technical aspect of
technical my foot. He's showing me all the good pictures of all the things I missed at the ICAST show.
John, you really didn't miss anything.
Did you see those mice?
A mouse. There's probably $3 billion worth of fishing equipment, and he gets hung up on a mouse.
Hey, he's showing me the pictures. That's nothing I did.
Okay, all right, that's all good. So, what are some of your duties with Eddie when you guys go out? Now, for those of you that have just met Eddie for the first time, Eddie, give us a brief summation of outdoor experience for all.
We're a nonprofit organization here in the state. What we do is we take children.
So is my business.
Yeah. Well, good.
Not by design, I take it.
Yeah, no.
What we do is we take children who have been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, children with prosthetics and disabilities, and children who are fallen heroes. We take them into the outdoors. The way I met Jim was at different expos. I saw Wounded Warrior Outdoors as their banner, and went over to introduce myself because we do military personnel, or the children of military personnel with us, and so there was a connection there, and here he is.
By the way, you're welcome. I gave up an elk tag archery early season bull tag last night to Eddie.
Why? You know I didn't have one.
I know. But you know what? It can only go
I'm psychologically and emotionally disturbed.
You should be. Oh, that's right. I'm tag 101. I'm going this year. You didn't get drawn, did you, Don? Okay. Anyway, tag 102 last night went to Eddie's group, Outdoor Experience for All.
Really?
Yeah.
We have a kid already won.
Nice. Well, God love you for doing that, Eddie. I think that's a major undertaking. It's always good to be involved in something bigger than yourself.
Oh, yeah.
That certainly is. So, how do you guys interact?
Well, I mean,
he just takes you out in the woods and says, "Have a good time." Comes back on Sunday night to pick you up.
Drops me off and knows I can't get out of there without some help.
That thing 4-wheel drive?
No, it's one-arm drive. Is what
God love you. We can fix that. You know, we've got an extra Briggs and Stratton 5-horse side drive.
I've crawled a long ways at times too, so
oh, man.
I'll get out of this chair if that's what it takes to get the job done.
Yeah, man. Pay attention.
I know. Believe me.
So
I know.
look at the size of that arm. You know how bad that'd hurt.
Yes. Yeah. One punch, Sally.
Yeah. One punch, Jimmy. Anyway, back to you.
Well, you know, I mean, Eddie and I, of course, see each other at the shows. Eddie mentioned that already, but I think once you kind of figure out that we're both sort of in the same business, maybe our customer base is just a little bit different, those that we serve. But I mean, when you do that, I'm more than happy to come out here and share whatever I can help them with at their banquet. And Eddie and certainly Chris Denham, you know, his partner, are more than happy to come over and participate in our hunts and bring a lot to
nice.
what we do. And I think that sharing just is what keeps Eddie and I a good friendship.
Let me ask you what seemingly is a loaded question. We've kind of backed off a Wounded Warrior under that heading projects only because there's an awful lot of people out there taking advantage of Wounded Warriors.
Are you saying that, Jim?
I mean, what we run into, of course, with my association with the DAV and Wounded Warrior Outdoors is there's a lot of...
That's a different program. I'm not talking about yours specific,
right.
But under the heading Wounded Warriors, there's a bazillion tournaments for this and that. A lot of money going south is my point.
Exactly. I mean, obviously there's opportunistic people all over the country. That's just kind of the way we've always been. And it's not unusual for me to go into a grocery store in Florida and there's a guy standing there with camouflage on that's got some corny name to an organization. And basically all it is him. He's got a bucket. He's collecting a lot of money and he's making a good living doing that. And I'm sure it's not just in Florida, it's probably all over the country.
KDKB Radio, rock and roll station here locally, 93.3, did a survey not all that long ago about these guys panhandling. On an average, they make $66 an hour. Think about that.
I might start doing that.
I'm thinking, you know, you go down to Charlie's House of Fun, get you a cast, roll in the dirt a little bit.
Well, you got the long hair. It's the mullet.
It's not a mullet.
We're not good. Oh, here we go.
Ooh, yeah.
He's trying to put me in the crosshairs now. I knew it.
No, there's a whole thing.
At least you're not as follically challenged as I am.
I'm getting there. Yeah, my forehead's starting to grow really bad.
You know what? One of the biggest problems with that is that law enforcement is usually reluctant to kind of shag these guys away from a store or a street corner.
Why?
I don't know. And that's kind of true universally all across the country. Probably a small community you wouldn't get that, but any major city, law enforcement is extremely reluctant to step in and push those people off of a curbside someplace.
We have a unique problem here because they, of course, stand on all the exit ramps. And Phoenix, particularly within about 3 miles from here, which is basically downtown right by the state capitol, there are a lot of people who, particularly during the summers, have a real difficult time. And the ones who are really severely challenged are the ones who really need the help the most. The ones who are opportunistic are the ones who are smart enough to know what the gig is and how to handle it and how to make their extra money and have fun doing it.
Yeah, they're the ones that stand right by Chase Bank on Friday.
Yeah. So I understand the reluctance because sometimes too, when I've seen the police, try and move these people, and it's like anything else, they're back in 10 minutes after the police leave. Yeah. It's a wasted effort time thing. So it's hard for them to deal with on a continuing basis, other than running through the whole process of having them put into jail. And you can't. I mean, it would be overflowing.
What's the point?
I know exactly. So. But that's when speaking about the opportunistic people that are out there, that's the issues that we have. And what are some of the most involved things that you do, Jim, in terms of being in the field with people, getting people outdoors? How does that work?
Well, and all of the participants in our program come directly from the hospitals, either from Balboa, and that would be Marines rehabbing. Walter Reed would be Army and sometimes Air Force, and then also Bamsey Brook Army Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas. That's the feeders for our program. and the hospital staff themselves select the people to come on the hunts or the fishing trips or any outing that we have based on their physical and psychological needs. Like the staff has recognized these guys need a little extra push in their rehab, and we think this program will do that for them. When they get to, it's like a bear hunt we just had in British Columbia back in May. I mean, I share a lot of things with these guys from my 45 years of experience since my injuries in Vietnam, but I'll be real honest with you. Most of the time, I just give them a rash of crap from the time they get off the plane until they get back on it, because I think that's truly the kind of stuff that they need. You know, they need a mentor that's willing to push and shove a little bit and say, look, don't be afraid to step out here and challenge yourself while you're here. Do everything you possibly can to be successful and harvest a bear, a turkey, or whatever we're doing. And don't go back home thinking you left anything out on the field. Just leave it all right here. And I think that's what really changes their life tremendously, is at this stage of their life to say, maybe it isn't as bad as I thought it was. Maybe there is a hell of a lot of stuff I can do out there. And thank this organization for giving us the opportunity to prove that.
Most people are bound by their own mental determination of what their capacity is.
Their own perception.
Yes.
Life is from the neck up, not from the neck down. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's an interesting thought.
Oh, always for me.
Think about that. We're going to flip into a break. And here's what's coming to Bill Chrysler Jeep and Dodge is the 2014 1500 Ram with diesel. Think about that.
I knew you were going to get into that sooner or later. Way to go, Bill Luke.
Yeah. They take curiouses for trade-ins.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
We'll be back.
I swear that's a fact, but the thought of somebody
Alrighty, we're back.
rubbing her back.
Jim, you and John were having some pretty interesting dialogue. Kind of recap that for the listeners about accepting you and where you are in life, and as opposed to folks that don't accept what they have.
Well, I mean, I think, and I'm talking specifically now about people I deal with, which are wounded Marines and Army soldiers, catastrophic injuries, multiple losses of limbs, 2 legs and an arm, or whatever. There's either 100% acceptance in your life that that's what you are, that's what you're going to be for the rest of your life, or there's zero. You can't say, well, I've got 85% acceptance of what happened to me. In my estimation, that's a 0%.
Right. Got it.
You really have to embrace that you're different, you're missing limbs, but you love yourself and you're able to push on in spite of that. And just like I was telling Eddie, you want to get out there in the middle of that crowd and engage people. And you know what? Part of that is my responsibility to make you feel comfortable with me. It isn't society's responsibility to make me feel comfortable in society.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to meet it at least halfway, if not more.
You know, and I think that's one of the things that I see. The general public doesn't know how to accept you. You know, we've been around, and quite frankly, it took me a long time going, ooh. And anymore, I want to know about you, what happened, where you are, you know, that kind of stuff. You were out at Arizona Game and Fish when Gordon was out there, weren't you? You didn't make that event.
No, I did not.
We had a meet and greet with the legislators out at Ben Avery.
Oh, the clay shooting.
Yeah, clay shooting. I think they didn't shoot paper cups, but whatever it was. I met a gentleman in a chair, disabled Army soldier, and my intervention with him, he's dragging this shotgun case out, and he's got the coolest shotgun. That shotgun was so far above my pay grade, I don't even know how to pronounce the name. I know it had a vowel on the end, it wasn't Benelli. And he's got 47 different barrels, chokes, and I said, you gonna get with that thing? He said, it's the only damn thing I can do well. Watch this. He went 5 rounds, missed 1 clay. Wow.
I could go 5 rounds and maybe hit 1 clay.
Yeah, well, you know, my point is, Jim, you make a really good point. You guys have to accept where you are, and you know, I think it's up to us. You know, there's a certain amount of question, and I'm getting beyond it. My mind keeps going back to Specialist First Class, retired Austin. And what I got out of him, I sat and listened to his story for about 40 minutes, and I know I had to reach up and close my jaw a number of times because, I mean, his story was, he had all of his body parts, but, man, I'll tell you what, they went through a lot to put that man back together. And it seemed to me, you know, he's doing Heroes on the Water, and I need to look into that group. But a lot of these guys are searching for something to belong to that will accept them. And I think we all have a need to belong to something besides our own little club that we've created for ourselves. I mean, you sit around and look at this table. You know, I bet between the three of us, there's probably 20 different organizations that we belong to, either separately or as a group, and we function that way. And welcoming these soldiers into our world, I think it's a big deal because everybody's got something to offer. You know, I don't know if I have the mental capacity to even begin to comprehend what you've gone through. That doesn't mean I can't appreciate it and learn from it. Mentors like yourself, I'm at a point in my life that all my upper food chain is gone. Now, you're older than I am. You went through what you did in what year?
68 and 69.
69. I was just getting out of high school at that point.
Geez, I'm starting to feel kind of old now.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I'm glad I'm still around to feel old.
You know, I had another cognition, and I'll get off this and get back to my point. There was 10 of us that ran around in high school. I went to a funeral 3 or 4 weeks ago. There are 2 left. Wally and I decided to put $100 in an envelope, gave it to his secretary. He happens to own a mortuary. And his instructions to her was, last man standing gets the envelope. Where are you going? Down to the bar. Yes. So, you know,
you ran around with the wrong crowd.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, there was 3 of the 10 were casualties in Vietnam. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, all 3 of them went in during the Tet Offensive. It was 19. You know, high school was fun, but the late 60s, early 70s sucked for everybody.
Yeah.
But and now, did you get out as a staff sergeant?
I did.
Nice. Yeah, I love staff sergeants. They rule the Army. Well, that's pretty cool. What do you have to say to guys like me in accepting who you are?
Well, that's kind of an interesting question. I mean, I think everybody in my situation is just looking for the same fair shake that anybody else got. But again, I want to emphasize it's mainly my responsibility to engage you and make you feel comfortable in dealing with me. Not everybody can walk right straight up to somebody in a wheelchair, put their arm around you, give you a hug or shake your hand, because they're afraid they might say the wrong thing. So I need to make you feel comfortable and let you know that it doesn't make any difference what you say. You know, like I want to get my foot in the door type of thing. Oh, my God, did I offend Jim by saying that? Yeah. Eddie says those offensive things to me all the time.
Jim, it's okay. Eddie says many offensive things to all of us all the time.
You know, you're sitting with probably the most 3 politically incorrect people in Arizona right now.
It might be 4.
I'm the voice of moderation.
At times.
Thank you.
When?
But that's when I know Eddie likes me, if he's willing to say those things, and it's okay with me.
Cool.
That's truly the way that works.
Yeah.
You know, those are your friends.
Good stuff. What's your next event?
Oh, I have amongst the different meetings and stuff for the disabled American veterans, I have a gator hunt in South Florida, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of August.
Nice.
And then I signed up a number of years ago for a Purple Heart hunt that's put on by a group up in Michigan, and I'd kind of given
Is that after the gator hunt?
It is.
Oh, cool.
Like 2 days after. And
that may be appropriate.
Hopefully when I get home from that one, I still have a wife. But I'd kind of given up on that situation and thought, well, maybe they were just selecting guys more from the Midwest, and I get an email that says, you've been accepted. We want you to come to Michigan for the deer hunt. So I get to shoot a deer in velvet up there.
Cool, very cool. I want to know more about the gator hunt.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You ever been on a gator hunt?
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, I got a gator 2 years ago.
Wounded Warrior Outdoors also does gator hunts.
Mm-hmm. Gator, a lot of gator and hog in Florida is what we.
Oh, you just said the wrong words.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Yes, I just met Kelton from Mustang Survival Equipment. Sales rep, covers Florida. Chap from West Texas, so he understands hogs. And he goes, oh, yeah, we got hogs just right across the street. Not just one or two, but you need to come on back. So we exchanged business cards, and there's going to be some discussion about
I saw a thing the other
harvesting.
day in a magazine I was reading on the way out. In Texas, they'd have to kill 1,200,000 hogs a year just to stay even.
Are you kidding me?
Well, we could be part of that, Eddie.
So that obviously they're not doing that, so the population of hogs is increasing exponentially.
Well, one of the things that we've got on the table here is we've got a grant request being prepared and doing some stuff here in Arizona because, quite frankly, we have feral hogs. I don't know how many we have. I know there are some few places, and talking with the department, they have more information, it seems, than is out on the table, and we're going to discover that after talking with the commission and Brother Riley. But we need to figure out where they are, how many of them we have, and then do some genetic testing, which will mean, I'm thinking, probably collecting 30 samples.
Don wants to be the sample collector.
Yeah. Let's just say we need to collect some samples and do the testing to see actually what we have, because up on the Toll Park Marsh, rumor has it, and I don't know how substantiated it is, that a truck turned over hauling livestock and the pigs got loose. And
Russian boars.
And we don't know what they are. We don't know where
they transport a lot of those here in Arizona, do they?
I'm telling you.
Yeah. We think it was being, what the word I heard was that was being taken to a private hunting preserve, and they got loose. That's where the Russian boar aspect came in on it.
On the Topok?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard it. I'm hearing that for the first time.
See? Hang around me, Don. I'll show you some stuff.
Yeah.
Texas would probably be happy to send some over if you
I'm sure they would, yeah.
Well, I think the game department needs to get a hand, because, there's a lot of stuff going on. We have feral this, feral that, and feral the other thing that, we need to do something with it. And the pigs are going to become a problem. It's just a matter of a very short time. The burros are already outside their extended range. They're a problem. They need to be dealt with. And then we have a certain amount of wild horses wreaking havoc and some prime elk habitat that need to be managed. Anyway, having said that,
John Colazar,
Eddie Corona,
Jim Sursley.
And when we come back, we'll engage in a little bit of conversation. We do have roll call to contend with about the 756. We have one soldier we need to recognize. I'm Don.
In the Mississippi River, she's a gold dry.
All right, we're back. I want to finish up with Jim here. Then we need to move on to some other stuff, and then we'll re-engage as we come back in the top of the hour. Jim, how many programs do you do annually?
We're probably doing about 6 or 7 right now.
Okay,
with 6 participants at each one.
I do need to get this off my chest. What can I do to volunteer to be a part of the gator hunt? Let's just say I have experience on catching the gator.
Not bear.
Don, the line's behind me.
Yeah.
I love you, Eddie. I love you, man.
You can take that knife out.
I think the line's actually longer than that too, but I don't know. Maybe I'll pass the buck and say we'd have to figure out pass that one over to Ron Raboud, the guy that runs our program.
Now, if I have to cut off something, I'm willing to do that.
As long as it's not too much.
Yeah. Okay.
Just look at the back of that head. Yeah. You think any of that's going away?
I'm not cutting my hair.
I knew
not
that.
A mullet.
It's not a mullet.
We'd love to have you. And we're up to doing at least 2 or 3 of those a year now, because it's really, really popular with the guys, because I think anything that's got that fear factor to it, that's something that might eat you.
That's
we've had this really discussion here many times.
Absolutely. We can go out and hunt stuff. They're just there. But when you're hunting something that hunts you back, nice.
Well, before the first hunt, I had 2 legs and 2 arms. So that's you sure you still want to go along?
I got it.
Yeah.
We might have to troll you behind the boat as bait or something.
Oh, no.
Chum time with Don McDowell.
No, we don't want to be chum by any means. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah, that reminds me of, I don't remember the guy that wrote it, but there's a book out, Why Men Love War. Have you read that?
No, I haven't.
Need to read that. And I kind of equate that to all the guys that I know and that are categorically good friends. We all suffer from the same thing. I'm going to use this as our baseline of fun. This is normal. And going through what you've been through, you've got an acceptance level of fear factor and an adrenaline rush that, let's say, spikes at 24. Anything in between normal and 24, it's not fun anymore because you've mastered that particular, let's call it, most of the time it's fear. It's like, man, I was really lucky on that. And we do it on the bass boat. You're running along 70, 80 miles an hour, and next thing you know, it's poor Patrick. His line of normal went to about a 15. We're running along about 76 miles an hour, and something's wrong with the steering. I just got it out of the shop, and it's a little bit loose. I backed out of it. At 76 miles an hour, it turned 90 degrees. Poof. Scared me, and I'm used to it. That poor kid, he goes, "Are we dead yet?" Yeah, we just made it to heaven. So, that's kind of where this book, Why Men Love War, and if you take it, read it for what it's worth, and then equate it into your life on the things that we do. And I have some social difficulties, even in my you want to go to the movies? No. Want to go to Disneyland? No. Why? It's not fun. So my idea of fun compared to John's idea of fun and Eddie's and your idea of fun is a whole different thing because there's a holy crap factor involved in that, and it goes back to hunting gators. Is there a factor there? Oh yeah, there is.
We're adrenaline junkies.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but
it's true.
Yeah, it's whether you got to hike up to the top of a hill and come around a mountain and meet a pissed off mountain lion face to face. Yeah. So, I get it.
I think the first 10 years for me after Vietnam was kind of that way, but I think I've kind of adjusted. I think children and grandchildren change you.
Yeah, they do.
Because
a little bit.
You get a lot out of their excitement for something that maybe otherwise might not have been fun for you. So I think I've been fortunate to have that. Otherwise, I think maybe life would have got real boring after 30 or 40 years. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm real blessed to have that group of kids and grandchildren, too.
How many do you have?
I have 4 children and 11 grandchildren.
Oh, okay. That's the busy factor, right?
Yeah,
Christmas gets real expensive.
That's good.
Yeah.
He's got grandkids at his house right now with their friends, and his wife's there. So, and then he's going back and going to a gator hunt.
Smart man. That's the key. I find that when you expose somebody you love, your kids or your grandkids, to that first time thing, first elk, first deer. I mean, for me, it was much more exciting that my sons got bulls than for me.
Yep.
That to me was, well, you know that, Don.
Well, you were up
on your hunt last year.
Yeah.
It's much more exciting to have the grandkids and the kids involved in their first taking of a big game animal by far than it was for us, because that's passing it on. And they will do the same, and they'll feel that same kind of thing, just like you're saying. Your grandchildren will know all those experiences through what you've shown them.
Now, Eddie did the turkey hunt with us in western Kentucky this year. And had your guy been on a turkey hunt before?
Never.
First time ever.
First time ever.
Eddie called in a bird for, we had Marines there, right?
Yeah.
So you had a Marine from Balboa.
Yeah, as that turned out, he ended up being from Nogales. I didn't know who we were going to get. You just show up, you're a volunteer, you're a caller, and they team you up, and a kid by the name of Carlos. We started talking. Turns out he's
Carlos?
Carlos. My name is Carlos.
That's the Cuban side. Never mind. We're not going to go there.
But, and we hit it off, and we still keep in contact now.
Nice.
So I was very fortunate.
So you had a first-timer out there. What was his reaction when he heard that first gobble back?
they just they're wide awake because they don't know what's going on. It's pitch black, and you got to walk them through everything. It's like, it took us. That bird was henned up, and I said, just be patient. He'll come. You just got to be patient. He's got to take care of business on the other side of that field. When he's done, he'll come over here. And sure enough, 4 hours later, that Tom came over. And
did he get the shakes?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He was like, here he comes. And he's like,
I don't get it. You can talk about hunting gators and things that hunt you back, but a turkey will give 99 guys out of 100 a case of the shakes, turkey fever, sweats. I don't know what it is about that gobble, Jim.
I think one of the things too with Eddie now was, I think Eddie had tears in his eyes when they came back that first day and after harvesting that bird and telling the story. So it means as much to Eddie, and Eddie gets as much out of that as what he's giving to that Marine that was inside that blind that morning that harvested the bird. And I mean, that's the good stuff that comes out of it. Everybody gets something out of that program.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. At the end of the day, doing what we do is expensive. Sometimes it's inconvenient. We would rather be doing other things, but we're going to keep doing what we're doing because it's just like you say. At the end of the day, we're taking something home too. Absolutely. And John, you've got some valid points, as well. This past year, I'll get this out, then we need to do roll call. We had 3 bull tags, and John was able to join us for a little bit of that.
And by the way, the Prius made it 35 miles of gravel and busted up road.
Way back there. We got a F-350 jack.
How big was the trailer you put it on?
And I think he's driving his pickup truck. We look up and, it's early in the morning. Here comes that damn Prius with camel seats. Go figure. But we had 3 generations, myself, my son, and at that time, Mason was 10.
Mason's cool.
Yeah, he's like Davy Crockett on a good day, or Survivor Man. But I found myself, what I got out of the hunt was my granddad started taking me hunting. I was a month old. Made my mom roll my butt up in a blanket, threw me in the back end of a 1950 Chevy the following month, and that's when it started. But I found myself telling Mason the same thing that I told my son that my granddad told me. And it was just like, we're hot after elk. And I'm Mason, slow down. Don't get in front of me. Mason, don't step on any more pine grass. He goes, okay, Papa. And it was like somebody hit me with a board. I stopped chasing elk and went, wow. Had to wipe the tear back and get after it. So it was all good. We're going to roll into roll call right now. We have one soldier to recognize this week.
Good job, Don.
Get my computer here. I didn't print it off. This week, we want to recognize Army Private Earl D.A. Milliard, died July 4th, 2013, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom. He was 18 years old, out of Birmingham, Alabama. Assigned to the 2nd Engineer Battalion, 36th Engineer Brigade, out of White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico. He died on July 4th of injuries caused by a rocket-propelled grenade in Farah province, Afghanistan. That's one soldier. That's one too many. Our hearts and prayers go out to him, his family, and the soldiers that he left behind. I'm Don McDowell. We're going to stand down. We'll be back.
Between heaven and earth. Brought to you by Bill Luke Dodge Chrysler Jeep. Now, here's your host, saltwater fisherman and tournament pro, Don McDowell.
Yeah, man. Hey, welcome to the second hour of Shake, Rattle, and Troll. We're going to switch gears and go to downtown San Diego and get a little salt water taste of life with our buddy Rick over at the H&M Landing Tackle Shop. Rick, good morning.
Morning, Don. You guys should come out here right now. Yellowtail are busted wide open. They've moved up to about 75 miles out. Well within
nice.
the range. Guys are catching bluefin out there. Bluefin are anywhere from 30 to 60 pounds, just big old beasts.
Don, we have to go.
Okay, we're canceling the meetings this week, John.
Cancel the rest of the show. Come on over.
Okay, well,
I'm looking. Top it all off, the sand bass, for guys bringing their kids out, the sand bass have been ridiculous the last 2 weeks. Just limit style fishing every day. You guys are going out down, catching a limit in an hour and coming home.
That's outstanding. I'm looking at the H&M Landing fish count for July 13th. We're showing day and a half dock totals, 47 anglers on 2 boats. Get a hold of yourself, John. 105 yellowtail and 8 bluefins.
It was even better when the boats came in today.
Really?
Yeah, just tons of yellowtail, nicer grade stuff, and definitely much better than the last couple of years. These fish are anywhere from 8 to 30 pounds. The bluefin, like I said, are anywhere from 20 to 60 pounds.
That'll make a man out of you,
fish
JK.
over 100. Fish over 100 pounds. So
what have you heard lately on the first string? They're showing 32 anglers, 320 yellowtail, 12 bluefins, second day of a third 3-day trip.
Yeah, that was what we heard yesterday. I haven't heard anything from them today yet.
All right.
Probably won't hear anything till about 10 o'clock or so.
All right, now the day boat, how far are the day boats having to go?
About 75 miles, which is
nice.
Easy run.
It's time, Eddie.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
It is time. The switch just went on.
Yeah, it really did. It's just inshore, offshore, it's all been good.
Okay, what's the Malahini doing today? Have you heard?
Malahini, they're pretty much hitting that sand bass first thing in the morning. Then they've had pretty good barracuda fishing, calico bass, yellowtail haven't really been cooperating. There's been a few schools around, but the current's been kind of goofy, so you really need some current doing something to get set up on those fish.
Well, I noticed I looked at the barracuda count because if nothing, I'm not one for dragging a worm on the bottom necessarily. I like to fish for the barracuda specifically. Yesterday, I think they were showing well over 100. I think that was 103, 108.
Oh, yeah, but you're a bass fisherman, so, you're fishing sand bass and calico bass with the same type of bass gear you could fish freshwater bass with. It is just a ball.
Yeah, but what I've learned, if you can keep a topwater Rico away from the birds, the barracuda just whack it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Gotta keep the turns off it, that's all.
Oh, no. We got to fight fish and birds now?
Yeah, you throw a Rico, you throw a topwater out there,
Oh, well.
there will be an assault from the air. Absolutely.
Just take a shotgun?
Fish is spook, too. Yeah, just don't let the Mexican catch you.
Yeah,
They like to keep your company when you start bringing guns across the border.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Last time I did discuss seal management. Let's say aboard the Galilean, there was a discussion with the Sierra Club. So
you know what's really interesting though, talking about seal control, is I was out on a half day boat the other day, and there's a graduate student from UCLA who brought out a device that they developed in Ireland.
I thought you were going to say Afghanistan.
Yeah, we had plenty of access to those. But it's a sonic device. Lowered a speaker in the water, flipped it on. The seals stuck their heads out of the water, shaking their heads, and then took off.
Really?
Yeah. It was
what did it do
amazing.
to the fish?
Nothing. Didn't affect the fishing at all.
Wow.
But
Drove the seals crazy, but the fish stayed.
Well, not crazy. It's like they're just going, what? We don't like it here. We're leaving. Something isn't right. We're getting out of here. But
there is a price for free food. There's no such thing as free food.
Exactly.
All right, so sounds like Eddie, John, Patrick, we need to pack this medicine show up and get over to San Diego.
All right,
I think
Jimmy,
that should be the plan, guys.
You're handling the rest of the show. We're out of here.
Okay.
All right.
Let's talk
we'll
about
see you
carp.
soon. Give us a call at 619-222-1144 or go to our website, hmlanding.com. We'll be happy to get you out fishing. Come on and enjoy some of the best fishing we've had in years.
Good job, Rick. Thank you, man. We will see you shortly. All right, check them out, hmlanding.com. It's time to go fishing. Absolutely it is.
Don't threaten
Guess
me.
what
You've been doing
day
that every
it
week.
is. You need to pack your bag.
I know.
The truck's already packed. We be going now. All right. So, have you done saltwater fishing?
I have. Do a little bit of that down in Florida for wahoo and dolphin.
Oh, wahoo. Yum.
Good stuff.
I'll tell you, wahoo is absolutely the favorite table fare in my life. Absolutely they are. So, good stuff. We'll have to engage you. How often do you come to Arizona?
Actually, it's the first time that I've ever been here.
Oh, you're kidding.
Are you going to come
flown
back?
I've flown in and landed and gone someplace else, but I've never stayed. So.
It's one of those kind of places you get off an airplane, it's 118, it's like sucking on a hairdryer.
Yeah, you look down from the sky when you're landing, and it looks like the world's largest kitty litter box.
Yeah. While we're here, I want to get back on. I want to share some stuff, best of show and best of class from iCast. But this little gadget here from Tackle Webs, and you can check this out, tacklewebs.com, is they've got, bass fishermen have so much stuff that Captain Mike from Florida, he's a captain, he's a fisherman, he gets it, has developed a little skirt, let's say, made out of this web material that snaps. He's got a base that goes on your seat pedestal, stainless steel, high-density polyethylene plastic, so it's not going to rust, corrode, chip, crack, or peel. And then he's developed these net bags. What would you call that?
I call it a net bag.
Okay, a net bag. For putting your stuff in.
I was looking at that thinking, you know what? In my garage, I would just line the walls with this sucker.
Well, this is one of these things, there's two things in my life that I wished I'd have thought of. And it's a paper clip and whiteout.
Oh, yeah, the whiteout people made a fortune.
Well, I went to school with the kid's grandma that invented whiteout, and I don't think he made it out of high school. He just had some money. He was just a useless turd. Always. He didn't have to study. He says, Grandma, give me some money.
Done.
But these Tackle Web devices, check them out online. It's tackleweb.com. This is a multi-purpose product. Yeah, well, you can use it on the boat. And Captain Mike has some offshore boat uses for this. But this will go in the truck. It'll go anywhere. I have a use for this in the M35A2.
I like the overhead aspect of it. I hadn't even thought of that.
Well, he's got them with grommets, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is kind of my wow. Patrick was consumed with a rubber mouse.
I know he was. He showed me enough photos of the rubber mice.
Yeah, but tackleweb.com, Captain Mike Ortega out of Florida, Miami, Florida. Check him out. I mean, this is a have-to thing right here. The nice part about it is, we've got a lot of storage space on the bass boat. We've got 2 forward rod lockers on my boat. I've got 3 tackle organizer boxes with lids in the boat, and then there's 2 port and starboard on the fantail. But these will go inside on the lid, which is wasted space. And I don't know why somebody hadn't thought about this a long time ago, but good stuff. Again, we mentioned the Ardent Reels. Check those out at ardentoutdoors.com. And, I just think there's only so much you can do to a hard lure, but they're getting more attractive to fishermen. There's more glitter, more bling.
Sexy.
They're getting more realistic with, with the computer imagery and digitizing that we have today. They look like a fish.
Oh, yeah.
And the mouse looks like a mouse.
I was going to say, I saw those mice. They look like real mice with skirts. Don't go there.
They're starting to bedazzle their lures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's the wow factor, the sex appeal of it, whatever. I mean, fish are going to start getting really bored. You want to talk about raising their level of expectation?
Well, I think the 90% of this stuff on the market is designed to catch the angler at the shelf. Look at that. Wow, that's really cool. Is this going to catch more fish than this one that I used in 1958? No. I'm going to prove a point. You guys grew up with hula poppers. You know what a hula popper is.
Everybody knows a hula popper.
Rico, one of the finest topwater chuggers on the market. You take a hula popper out there, it's going to rival the Rico.
I don't know. That Rico sure did well over at the lagoon.
Yeah, I know. All righty, we're going to stand down when we come back. You know what? I'm not sure what we're going to do. We're probably going to harass Jim and Eddie here. Sound
good idea.
To you? Yeah.
Works for me.
And, again, the 1500 Ram is coming with the diesel. I-17 and West Camelback Road. Built at Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Fiat since 1927. Yeah, you gotta love Davis Moses.
By the way, we are now determining where Jim's going today.
What do you mean?
Well, having never been to Arizona, he's got a day. And I said, Daddy, where are you going to take him? He goes, I don't know. I said, come on, at least go see the Grand Canyon. Take him to the hole in the ground. He went, well, I don't know how tired he is. He's got to prep himself for the gator hunt.
I'm thinking about South Central and Broadway. 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, there you go. Wild side of life. No, what do you, obviously having this is your first pass. I mean, when did you get in? Late yesterday?
Friday.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you've had 48 hours to shake and bake with all the rest of us. What's your perceptions of Arizona so far?
I like it. And to me, I don't mind the heat. It's a heck of a lot tougher to have 96% humidity like we have in Florida.
Oh, that sucks.
So, some days I change shirts 3 times. Just I still do real estate sales, and that's just the nature of it's like jungle.
Oh yeah,
It's kind of like a flashback to Vietnam.
Well, I flew from here in July about 20 years ago, and I went down to see somebody in Miami, and got off the plane. It was raining. It was like 97 degrees, and it was raining. It stayed that way for 3 days. Never changed. Temperature seldom changed. Nothing changed in terms of the rain. Came back, and it was like everything was still almost moldy.
Yeah.
I'll take dry.
Monsoon, I guess, is what they call that.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we have monsoon. Y'all have tornadoes and hurricane season.
Exactly.
And quite frankly, I'll have the same conversation I have with you that I have with Ron Stallings that lives in Wetumpka. Why do you live there?
Well, I married a native Floridian, and then all the kids were born there.
Is she Seminole?
No.
Okay.
You're locked and loaded then. You ain't budging.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there's just something wrong.
He's living there because she said he is going to live there.
Yeah. Well, there's...
Domestic Tranquility Chief has decided they're going to stay there.
Yeah. Well, any place that has a name like the Tornado Belt or the Hurricane Belt, we're not living there. No, hell no.
We living in an oven. That's fine.
All right, real quick, here's the best of ICAST, guys. Overall best of show was the JL Marine System. This is a power pole micro anchor. You can check that out on powerpole.com. Best of show apparel was again Shimano was dry fender insulated rain gear. I guess that's for cold weather. Best of show boating accessory again was the power pole micro anchor. Best of show boats was Johnson Outdoors Watercraft Predator 13. Kayak fishing has really taken off the last few years. Best of show combo was 13 Fishing, a product called Whiteout. And this is interesting to me with Rayathon and Lowrance and some of the bigger names on electronics. Was Johnson Outdoors, the Hummingbird bow mount 360 imaging. Boy, electronics have come a long ways. Eyewear was Costa with their Tuna Alley glasses.
What are Tuna Alley glasses?
We're going to call it high definition polarization.
Kind of like the stuff you were wearing when you came in the door this morning?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that. I have to have.
I thought those were rather attractive. I didn't see a second set for me anywhere. Patrick wasn't wearing any.
You can't wear those.
Why?
Those are prescription with bifocals. And thanks for pointing that out. God, there's just no slack, man. Let's see. Well, here's one for you, John. The best of show was Fish Smart Tackle. Forever Laugh was the G2 floating weighting net.
Floating weighting net.
Yeah, there was not, like I said, fly fishing guys are all over it. They're trying to bring their stuff to a new level. Columbia Sportswear had Henry's Fork V Vest. Fly fishing reel was Beam Outdoors Elite 21 reel. G. Loomis had the fly fishing rod best of show Pro 4X. And freshwater reel, which really surprised me, don't know if I agree with this. Shimano, the Chronarch, certainly a good reel, but the C14 Plus was first to show, and then G. Loomis has a NRX umbrella rig rod. And let's see, giftware, Rapala had an original floating bottle opener. Pretty tricky.
I'm watching it. I'm looking at that picture now that your brother's pulled up, and that's fairly classic. The old Rapala on the side floats, and you're never going to lose your bottle opener.
Nice, yeah. Well, pretty ingenious.
That would have saved a whole lot of my teeth along the edge.
Hard lure. I like this. Coppers Fishing and Tackle Corporation. Greg Trout's their rep. Tony G's one of their pro staffers. We've had Live Target in here on their bait ball. You can check out Coppers with a KOPPERS fishing.com. Soft lure was not the frog. It was the mouse.
The mouse.
It was the Lunker Frog by Lunker Hunt. And Shimano moving into saltwater reels, the Stella SW 30,000. Pretty good reel. And next week, we're going to kind of goofier.
That's a bait casting reel. It's not.
It is, but I'm going to bring some saltwater reels in, and we're going to talk about fishing with feathers. Last week we talked about fishing with candy bars. We'll talk about some feather fishing. Saltwater rod with St. Croix Legend Extreme Inshore. Tackle management was Plano Molding. They've got a 3700 Guy Series tackle bag, and tackle bag needs some attention. They did a good job. And terminal tackle was Mustad Hooks, a grip pin swim. So you can check those out on ASA.com at asafishing.org. We'll have these posted up on the SRT website. And by the way, if you should be at your computer, you can click on ShakeRattleAndTroll.com. We've got JTV up and running, which is an in-house production by Patrick. Nice job. So
yes, congrats. Patrick did a nice job.
Yeah, he did a good job. You know, it was worth watching him just walk around and go,
wow, that's cool.
Wow, cool. Look at this. So
rookie.
I take it you're getting a mouse for Christmas.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get into this next week. I don't want to talk about the panties that are changing hands, but yeah.
It's a family show. We got to go away from that one.
Let's just say Patrick has stepped in a bucket, and I'm not sure how deep it is, but it's over his head. So tell me about your saltwater experiences. How do you handle being on the boat?
Well, I mean, it probably took a little bit of adjustment to begin with, to kind of get your sea legs, so to speak, even with me in the chair.
He said that with a straight face, but I knew he had to break out sooner or later. Okay, thank you.
It doesn't take him long.
But you reach comfort level, I guess, is what happens. I mean, if the waves get kind of big, you have to hunker down a little bit different. Sometimes I've strapped myself in the chair and strapped the chair to something else on the boat. And,
absolutely,
that type of thing. But and usually I need some help with the fishing. If I sit in the fight chair and put the reel in front of me, then somebody's usually got to either pull on the reel, and I turn the crank, or we switch off and do that different.
Nice.
I do wear an artificial arm at times, but it doesn't do much good for that kind of apparatus and that kind of activity. I mean, you'd probably have to develop something specifically for that where it would stabilize the reel and stuff. But,
can you teach that artificial arm to hold your rod?
Again, I think you would have to develop something differently than what I own for a prosthetic arm. You'd have to develop.
You send it out. We'll put vice grips on the end of it.
Put something on the, but really get a hold of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. What I do when I freshwater fish or just for smaller equipment, I always get a long handle on my pole, and I put it underneath my armpit on the left side.
I get
it. I mean, I probably look a little weird when I'm fishing or retrieving, but hey, it gets the job done as long as you get the
you get the fish in. That's all we care about.
That's the name of the game. Yeah. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. But.
Yeah. As long as you get the fish in. We had this knucklehead shows up at the. I'm up on the bow of the bass boat at $750, $900 worth of rod and reel in my hand, and he whips out a Popeil pocket fisherman that he got off of eBay, just whacking fish.
Yeah, but you know how he was whacking fish? It wasn't with a lure. You know what he was fishing with?
Hot dogs.
Oscar Mayer. Yes.
Yeah.
I saw it. I know.
How you do it.
Yeah, you have to hold your mouth right. You would have loved it. We had the kids marching around singing, "My bait has a first name, it's OSCAR." Yeah, and I tried to say, get them to say Daiichi, and it came out something other than Daiichi-san, so it was all good. We had a blast doing that. All right, when we come back, we're going to switch gears, go to downtown Payson, where the weather is always nice, with James Guggenauer, our master rod builder from Rim Country Custom Rods. I am Don McDowell, and you are?
Jim Sursley.
Cool.
Eddie Corona.
Thanks for coming.
John Colazar.
The voice of moderation.
And reason.
That's a really fine tune, but every time that comes on, he starts his little two-step thing over here in the corner.
He was telling me he went to go do a dance contest last night.
Don't go there.
Have you watched this guy dance?
And the reason they didn't win is because she had a terrible partner. Two left feet.
I don't believe that, man. This guy's got, there's soft shoe and then there's soft boots. He's got the two-step soft boot thing going on. So it's all
I think
good.
women call it a pump.
Having said that, we're going to change gears. James Guggenauer, our master rod builder from Rim Country Custom Rods in downtown Payson. What's happened? Before you say anything, how's the weather?
Weather's overcast today. 64 degrees last night. Nice and cold. A little bit of dew on the windshield this morning.
That's so wrong to tell us that crap.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good up there.
Yeah, go ahead, rub it in. I can see all that sorrow in your voice.
Yeah.
It's nice out running the dog when the branches are all wet, and she's loving it, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, dogs are chasing elk and Sasquatch. Nice, I love it. All right.
Don, you know what I was going to tell you? You'll recall about a year ago, I was down in studio with you, and we were talking about Alabama rig rods, what kind of rod we'd use for that.
Uh-huh.
We predicted that the next big thing in bass fishing rods would be a rod built specifically for umbrella rigs. Well, guess what? The best in show for a saltwater or for a freshwater rod is a Loomis umbrella rig rod.
I saw that. I got to play with it. What's your take on it? Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, but I'm reading the description here. And you'll recall when we talked about it, they're building a 7'7" rod,
right,
which will give you the extra length to be able to cast that thing a long way. Extra heavy power, which we absolutely have to have.
Like a broomstick.
And they're a little bit less descriptive in the action of the rod. They just say it's soft enough to load up, yet stiff enough not to overflex. So I think that equates to probably a moderate or a moderate fast kind of action for that rod.
I would liken it to a heavy action worm rod, if you're honest with you.
Right. It's probably a little bit on the stiffer end. So that would probably be more like the moderate fast. Because you remember the big issue when they first came out where guys were breaking the tips off their rods trying to throw the baits. So I'm not surprised. I'm glad to see it, and it's right in line with the type of rods that Rim Country Custom Rod builds for Alabama rigs. So,
to begin with, who was the predecessor to the G. Loomis rod? Nice going, Jim.
There you go.
Good stuff. All right, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's get the Rim Country Fishing Report out of the way first, and then I want to roll into the postponement of the 16th meeting, and then I want to talk about the privatization of and restriction on Roosevelt Marina for a minute.
Good deal. Okay, let's start with the water level at Roosevelt Lake. Once again, we dropped another 1% this past week. That's about 3 or 4 weeks in a row. It's gone down 1% each week due to the water needs in the lower valley. Right now, Roosevelt stands at 47% full. Tunnel Creek, yesterday it was not flowing, or day before yesterday. However, I checked this morning, and it is slightly flowing this morning, like 1% or something, I think, due to the monsoons that we had a little bit. Salt River's flowing at about 70% of its normal rate for this time of year. So a little bit of water going in will take all we can get. The water temperatures are in the low 80s in the morning, increasing to the high 80s in the afternoon. Some of that depends on the amount of cloud cover, but that's pretty consistent there. And the clarity of the water is clearing up each week. As long as we don't have big winds down at Roosevelt Lake, it tends to stay pretty clear. Sometimes if a monsoon blows through and the wave action picks up, it'll get stained around the edges of the lake a little bit.
Jim, what's the algae bloom this week? Is it starting to dissipate?
It is. In fact, it has been for the last couple of weeks, Don. We're on the downhill side of that. You just don't see that green tint to the water that we had a month ago. That's going away. There's still some areas, Roosevelt's a lot of different lakes built in there. So there are still some areas. I won't say it's completely gone, but it's much improved than what it was a month ago.
Okay.
Bass fishing was called fair this past week. Most guys continue to fish off those main lake points, and they're taking anything from a Texas rig, the Carolina rig, fishing a 10-inch worm, a 6-inch lizard, green pumpkin. It always seems like I start getting green pumpkin reports. That's an indication that the lake is clearing up.
Yeah, what color fleck are they dialing in on?
Black.
Black fleck. Nice.
Green pumpkin has with a black flake on it. And even jigs. Guys are fishing sometimes down to 30 feet here. And jigs in that same green pumpkin color seems to be working good.
What color are the crawdads? Have you noticed lately?
I hate to bring this up, but their crawdad is one of the major impacts, I feel, from the gizzard shad. You don't hear guys talking about big numbers of crawdad around the lake. It used to be when you put your boat in the water, you could walk out into the ramp and you could watch crawdads scurrying away from the ramp area.
Yeah, we call that catching lunch.
Yeah, don't see that anymore. Or rarely see. I won't say you don't, but
okay.
So you're saying gizzard shad are taking care of the crawdads. Now we need something that takes care of the gizzard shad.
We do. They're called gill nets.
I understand. Sane fishing.
Road known.
Versus insane fishing.
Okay.
Hey, speaking of the gizzard shad, crappie fishing was called fair again this past week. And but the good news is, as we move closer to a new moon, the crappie lights are working. The difference between daytime crappie fishing and nighttime fishing is pretty dramatic right now. All the crappie fishermen that are serious about it, that really take them home and eat them and enjoy them, they're fishing at night, because the only way to really improve the numbers seems to be the use of crappie lights. I know I talk about that every week, but that seems to be a key factor for success in catching crappie on Roosevelt Lake these days.
When we put in a limit for crappie, there's going to be a lot of night patrol boats out there making sure that they're not taking in more than 15 crappie.
John, I'm going to disagree with that. With all due respect to your voice of moderation and conservatism.
The assessment.
And your assessment on that. I think these anglers get it. And what I see is kind of like the hunters going to voluntary copper bullet compliance up on the Strip. They know we can't sustain a resource if they keep taking home 7 out of 10 crappies that are caught. They get it.
Okay.
So hopefully, these guys are on an honor system. Because Game and Fish can't be out there checking every boat.
No, not at night all night long. No.
But anyway.
Sorry about that, James.
Yep.
Well, and if you think about it, 2 guys in a boat, 30 crappie, that's a good night of fishing.
Nice.
So, hopefully we can work it from both ends. Try to control the gizzard shad some way, and then I'm not hearing a lot of complaints about the 15 level. Some guys will always say, "Oh, geez, we shouldn't be doing anything like that." But I think the majority of guys are thinking like Don stated there. That it is a good resource. We don't want to deplete it. And everyone agrees that 15 crappie a day, that's a pretty good catch.
Okay, let's move in. There was you're calling it the Gila County Roundtable number 2 has been postponed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. we need to get that out there so everybody can show up on the 16th.
Right, and I appreciate that because I did send a pretty wide distribution of email trying to get more people to attend the meeting. So we want to make sure that everybody understands that it has been moved. I received a call this week, in fact, on Friday, from Game and Fish, and they said that some of the action items that they had from the first meeting that they're still working on answers for, and then also to develop a plan that they can take to the commissioners and get some approvals. So I think that some of that work is still in process. I actually applaud them for postponing the meeting. Let's make sure that we've got the right answers and the direction we're headed. And I give Chris Cantrell all the credit there. I think he's the one that's driving it and making sure that when they respond to the public that there are some definite deliverables that the public can walk away with and understand that Game and Fish understands and is working the problem. So
yeah, and also Curtis Gill, fish biologist, is doing a lot of work, and Marianne Robb, they're cleaning up a lot of research that's already been done, and I'm sure that's going to be brought forth that meeting. Jim, I'm going to ask you to hang loose through the break. I want to spend about 90 seconds on this Roosevelt Marina closure, and when we come back from break, I'm Don McDowell with our special guest,
Jim Sursley,
Eddie Corona,
John Colazar.
All righty, we'll be back. All righty, we're back. James Guggenhauer is with us from downtown Payson from Rim Country Custom Rods. And Jim, I forwarded you this letter, and guys, you need to listen to this. So look up here for just a minute. There was a letter written on June 26th, came out of Kelly Jardine's office, and he's the head ranger of waters in charge of Tonto Basin Ranger District. And I don't really have time to read this, but I'm gonna pick out a few things. Basically, what they're doing, there's been complaints from the Pensis Group. Now, the Pensis Group is the same guys that privatized the Lake Pleasant Harbor marina. That is now don't have their contract anymore. Maricopa Water District is the new proud owner and new management staff of Lake Pleasant. Now, here's what's happening over at Roosevelt Marina. As of the 26th of June, Kelly Jardine has authorized the Pensis Group as a Roosevelt Marina permit holder to manage access and fishing within 100 feet of all dock facilities, including slips, fueling areas, and courtesy docks. What he doesn't put in the letter is the tire boom. So the tire boom is off limits now. The use of no trespassing, members only, that's not us, signs are allowed to make clear to the public, that is us, what is accessible to them and what is reserved for Roosevelt Marina customers or members. There will be a charge for the public for fishing access in its courtesy docks and allow members to fish off of their boats in their dock facilities. Kelly goes on to describe it, and I'm going to say that I think this is extremely arrogant coming out of his office. I am the authorized officer responsible for administrating this permit and have the authority to define the use or allow others to use any part of the permit area for any other purpose. I'm taking exception to this. I think the angling community needs to stand with the Arizona Department of Game and Fish and challenge this. I don't think this is right. It's wrong. It's public waters. There happens to be a fixed base operator over there, which is the Pensis Group. And I would encourage anybody, this will be posted tomorrow on the Shake, Rattle, and Troll website. Names, addresses, and phone numbers. You may call Kelly Jardine in his office, light him up. Jeremy Krotz is the Chief Operating Officer for the Pensis Group at 2929 North 44th Street. I'm sorry. Suite 228. What I'd like to see is about 100 bass boats and trucks pull up in his parking lot and ask him, what the hell are you thinking? That's public property. I'm sorry. That's our lake. Kelly Jardine just happens to be in charge of a little part of it. They've closed ramps and marinas over there, launch ramps. They've closed fishing stations. They spent money on building entry stations for personnel. They fired the personnel. They shut them down. They put in pay stations. That costs us an arm and a leg. And now we have to go to Circle K to get our tunnel pass. I'm saying enough is enough. I'm tired of all the crap that tunnel just arbitrarily does, that we boycott and light Kelly Jardine up. I have asked the commission to get involved in this.
I wish you'd stop sugarcoating it.
Well, next week.
Okay.
I've asked the commission to take charge of this, look into it, and get tunnel back in a trend. This is public property. They keep charging. We don't have enough money to look what they did on travel management. They've got all these rules. They can't enforce it, and it's right up there with game and fish, aquatic invasive species, ARS 17-250-01 through 03. They can't enforce it. So why in the hell did you make the rule? So, having said that,
James, can you jump in on this, Jim?
Hey, what can I say? I think Don,
he's on a roll. Don't stop him now.
I'm done. I have to go have a donut.
I think he hit it right on the head. That the permitting process for a facility like that marina is clearly a piece of the puzzle, but there are game and fish rules involved there because they kind of own the fish. There's people that own the water, like the Salt River Project and Bureau of Reclamation, and there's more agencies. I mean, in addition to the fact that it's publicly owned, that there's other governmental agencies, and I think they are taking exception to.
I think the Rattle line equates back to we the people, Jim. Jim, thanks for joining us. I don't mean to get you in trouble. I'll take the heat for this one. If Kelly has any questions, he can call me at 623-221-7655 or email me at don@shakerattle.com.
The Fuhrer won't change that.
I want to thank our guest, Eddie, for bringing Jim down. Eddie, what can we do as the general populace, John Q. Public, Joe the Plumber, do to help you guys and Jim's efforts? So either one of you.
Well, one of the things for us for Outdoor Experience for All is, if somebody got drawn and they can't use their tag like JK did over here, they can definitely donate it to us. We have a list of a ton of kids here in Arizona that want to come out and experience the outdoors, and that's one of the reasons they want to go out and do that. With Wounded Warrior Outdoors, it's such a great organization, and even though they're based out of Florida, we have a lot of opportunities across the nation to be part of that. And once you get involved, as you well know, you get involved with an organization that helps kids or it's patriotism, it just tugs at you. And once you get that taste, you can't get it out and you want more.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim, how can we help you?
Well, I think a lot the same thing that Eddie's talking about. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened last year when we were at the turkey hunt in western Kentucky. A young lady and her mother came down from Michigan, and I think 2 years ago she'd actually started a little fundraising project and had raised like $300 or $400, and then decided to do it again and had like 1,600, I think, is what she brought down this time. And,
wow.
And actually her and her mother drove down from Michigan to be at the turkey hunt and to make the presentation and actually see firsthand the young men that were there from Balboa, the Marines that were severely injured.
Wow.
And I mean, I think that kind of participation on the grassroots level is just incredible. I mean, I know that it was a lifetime experience for her. I'm sure she's going to go back and share that with her high school class this year. And I think people can do that all across the country. And, of course, any kind of a donation that somebody would like to make, we're on a website, woundedwarrioroutdoors.com, or we're on Facebook or Twitter. Just remember it's Wounded Warrior Outdoors.
Thank you.
Not to be confused with another organization with a similar name. Ours is strictly all volunteer. All the money is used to provide hunts, fishing, and other outdoor opportunities for these wounded soldiers and Marines that come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And we're proud of that every single penny we spend is on them.
Are you dealing with emotionally or psychological wounds as well, PTSD, anything like that?
We are. Yeah, we have maybe 1 out of 6 of the people that come when we have 6 at a function are probably suffering from some form of traumatic brain injury or PTSD, and a lot of them are bringing companion dogs with them. That's gotten to be kind of a new thing in healthcare and stuff too.
I've been watching that,
and it's a little bit different because a lot of what's happened to them came from sounds of gunshots and a lot of combat activity. But so far, I'm noticing that in a more comfortable private setting, those guys are doing real well, and we don't force them to do anything. It's their take on the deal. Look, if you're uncomfortable, you want to take a day off, do that. But I think Eddie, same way Eddie was there at that same hunt where the guy had PTSD and traumatic brain injury, and I thought he did extremely well. He was probably one of the most acute cases we've dealt with.
Wow. I get a kick out of one of them. I think it was Long Range Pursuit that took some soldiers with issues that happened to be snipers, put them up on a hill at about 1,000 meters, shooting elk.
That's a long-range shot. I don't care.
Yeah, hey, guys, we're going to get this thing wrapped up. Jim, God bless you, man. Thanks for doing what you're doing for the DAV guys. Eddie, certainly you need a lot of praise and appreciation for what your group does, and everybody, Chris Benham and JK and all the other guys that put something into your organization. And, guys, we're going to have some stuff posted up on the website, tacklewebs.com. You can get these two for your truck, boat, your brother's back.
I could put small children in that and carry them all day on my backpack.
Hey, Captain Mike. Hoorah. So, long story.
I'm not going to go there.
Check it out. We're going to have all the best of ICAST 2013 up on the website fairly shortly, along with a copy of the Roosevelt Resort Fishing Access Guidance PDF out of Tonto Basin District, Kelly Jardine's office. John, I'm really pissed about that. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that it's like anything else.
Am I out of line?
No, you're not. Tonto is, but again, these are kingdoms. Everybody doesn't seem to grasp it. These guys think they are Lord, Masters, Kings, Führers, call them what you want. They think they can do anything in there.
Dictator, ring a bell?
Well, malevolent dictator, maybe. Yeah, they're not benevolent by any stretch of the imagination. They're basically what it is they're bowing to a financial pressure point based on...
And that's coming from the fixed base operator, Pence's group.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, they already ran us out of Lake Pleasant. You couldn't go in there if you had a fishing boat or even look like you were a fisherman to go in and pay $4 for fuel. They were like $8 for a pack of cigarettes, $14 for 6 beers. It's like, what?
It's all federal land. We know that.
Yeah, but it goes back to we the people. And
we the people aren't doing it.
Going back to the 60s, I think it's just time that, the recreational angling in Region 6 generates about $8 million, and that's the bulk of that's on Roosevelt Resort. I think
know that.
Screw it. Let's just go fish someplace else. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox.
Oh, come on. I love you up there.
I'm Don McDowell.
I'm John Colazar.
Eddie Corona.
Jim Sursley.
Jim, I hope you can come back or join us by phone in the future, and we'll be happy to engage in anything that you're doing. Once again, Don McDowell, check out the SRT website, ShakeRattleTroll.com. Take your kids fishing, hug your bass boat, salute a soldier. We're out of here.